Hey guys, DPX here, welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm reviewing Gran Turismo. Now before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will run you over. So Gran Turismo is kind of an adaptation of the Gran Turismo video games, but also based on a true story about how some kid played a lot of Gran Turismo and aspired to be a racer, and through some event became a racer. And I think that's very smart, first of all, you know, because, I mean, Gran Turismo, like, I played Gran Turismo, it's pretty fun, but, I mean, there's really, like, there aren't any characters necessarily in Gran Turismo, and there really isn't any story to tell with it. So when they announced that they're doing a Gran Turismo movie, I was like, why? And how? But when I found out more about, like, what it's actually about, you know, and that it's not really an adaptation of the game, it's an adaptation of a story that happened to involve the game, I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, actually. And I'll just say, this movie's a lot of fun. It is a fantastic time at the theaters, and that's what it offered, a great time at the theater. It is a rather cliche sort of, you know, sports film, underdog story, you know, feel good story, but it hits all the right notes like that it needs to. And also the cast brings a lot. You have the kid who plays Jan, the aspiring racer, Archie Madekwe. Sorry if I said that wrong, but he did great as Jan in this movie. You know, but he's definitely, you know, I've never seen him before, I've never heard of him before, so I would assume he's kind of new, but obviously he's surrounded by you know, a lot of other big names. Like, you got David Harbour as his coach, you have Orlando Bloom in the movie as sort of like this, that's my phone that just fell, sort of just this businessman trying to, like, orchestrate this whole thing. And his parents, the dynamic between him and his parents was great. His dad played by Jaimon Hansu, and his mom played by one of the Spice Girls. And about his relationship and dynamic with his parents, I thought that was done very well. I mean, this is pretty much how it was done in real life, so you can't fuck it up that much. But, you know, the way it was portrayed and the way it was, you know, it was done, I thought was done very well. But it's not just that. It's not just his dynamic with his parents. It's obviously his dynamic with his coach, with David Harbour's character, and even Orlando Bloom's character. You know, the three of them have a nice dynamic with each other. David Harbour playing this guy who is kind of like a washed-up, kind of retired racer, but, you know, his passion for the sport comes back when, you know, he has to train a new kid. Also, like, I knew the story sort of, like, I knew how it ended. When I read up on the story a little bit, it's like, you know, I'm not going to say it in case you guys don't know the story, even though it's a story that's out there. But I knew I was going to end, but I didn't know, like, what happened in between, you know? So there were many times where it was like, I thought it was going to be over, but it wasn't. I meant that I mean that in a good way. You know, sometimes, you know, a movie that just doesn't end is a bad thing. I mean this in a good way, because you don't feel the length. This movie is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you really don't feel that. You know, I think it's thrilling. It left me on the edge of my seat, because even though I knew how it was going to end, it's like, is this when it ends? You know, is this, like, how does it happen? And the emotion in the movie is done perfectly. You know, like, it's a crowd pleaser. Like, I honestly wasn't expecting to go into this movie and want to, like, clap when, you know, stuff happens. And the theater claps as well. And that's because you have an underdog story that is so compelling and so entertaining, and you just want to root for these characters. Your main character, you know, Jan. Like, you want to root for him so much, where you're happy when he succeeds. And visually, the movie is stunning, you know, where you have the little effects, you know, the times, you saw it in the trailer where, you know, he's driving the car, and you see kind of like, you know, it transforms, the scene kind of transforms into, like, him playing the game. You know, that's done very well in the movie. As for my negatives, I got two negatives, really. One is sort of like a mixed thing, more so, but it's more, I feel like the movie is kind of generic. It's not breaking any new grounds, you know? If you want to say for a video game adaptation, it definitely is breaking new grounds, because it's very good. Video game adaptations have been great lately, you know? Or at least better than usual. But it's nothing too crazy in the grand scheme of things. You've technically already seen this movie before. That, and this movie is like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, and while, you know, you don't feel the length, I'm not saying it should have been longer or shorter, but in that span of time, they weirdly cover like 5 years of events. So there's a lot of stuff that happens that feels like, you know, this should be a much bigger deal, and it probably was in real life, but it kind of just flies through it. Like, there's one part of the movie that I thought was gonna be, like, you know, quite a major part of the movie, but it felt kind of just rushed through, you know? I thought maybe, okay, maybe this movie's just going really fast, and we're already almost done with the movie. But no, because we still had the whole rest of the movie, if you know what I mean. And, you know, again, very entertaining, but it's still kind of weird how it just rushed through some things, you know what I mean? Those are my issues with Gran Turismo, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It is a hell of a fun time. It provided a fun time at the movies, and that's all you can ask for at the end of the day. Fuck. So, in the end, I'm going to give Gran Turismo an 8.5 out of 10. That's my review for the Gran Turismo movie. What do you guys think about it? Have you guys seen it, not seen it? Do you guys like it, not like it? If you haven't seen it, if you guys want to see it, not want to see it, anything about the movie, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, or I will run you over.